Welcome back, everyone. This is Angelina sending you good vibes. With me today, I have a special guest, Brenna Coleman, or Coach Coleman. So she'll get into introducing herself shortly, but she's going to talk about creating the life you deserve, empowering women to take control of their destiny. So, a little bit about this topic. It's about that empowering yourself to take control of your destiny. We are talking about unlocking your true potential and building the life you always dreamed of. And so, together, as I talk with Coach Coleman, we're going to talk about tools, we're going to talk about strategies, mindset. Everything that is needed to empower yourself to take strides forward in creating your destiny. So, Coach, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Coach Coleman, also known as Labrina. I have been a social worker for over 7 years. I've been in the field. I work in many various places, you name it, high school settings, middle school settings, psych units, hospitals, you name it. I've been in the field. Nothing that you say that I haven't heard, I haven't seen. I am your go-to person for all aspects working in the homeless population, suicidal prevention, domestic violence, you name it. So when getting through those trials and error,
Wow, Coach, that's a lot of hats you're wearing there. You're in so many things, or you've experienced so many things. And so I'm really excited to get into this topic with you. So let's just jump right into it. And let me just ask my first question. Um, what would you say is the key steps for women to take when they're looking at creating the life that they deserve?
I always encourage individuals, let's create a list because we want to know where are we now?
Hmm.
Where have we been in the past? So we kind of can pick up where we're good at, where we're not good at, what are our strengths, what are our weakness. That's the point of doing that. And then you identify where do you want to go. And the reason we do the background work first is because sometimes individuals don't know what the future looks like. They don't know what they want to do with their lives. They're kind of lost. Who am I? So we dive deep into where are we now? Who are we now? Who were we in the past? What did we like about us in the past? And what didn't we like about ourselves in the past and currently? So that will help us move forward with, okay, what does the future look like? And what do we need to do to make that future look like the idea that we have painted?
Mm. And I like that it's backwards forward because you have to have the vision first, right? You got to
Mhm.
see where you're going.
Yes.
And I get this because, when I coach too, it's like you have to build that vision and you have
Mhm.
to understand where you're going because you can't blindly just jump into
Mhm.
something. You have to have some type of picture. And we are all human, so humans learn by pictures. I mean, we did when we were little, our alphabets and things like that. So it's the same concept. So tell me a little bit about daily habits. How do you start building those daily habits to get to those end goals? Because if we're working backwards, you have to change some of the things that aren't working for you, because that's what I heard you say. What did work
Mhm.
in the past and what do we need to change? So talk a little bit about daily habits.
Daily habits, we kind of dive deep into what is your daily habit?
Mm-hmm.
What does your morning routine look like? Do you have a morning routine? Some individuals don't have a routine. They just go with the flow. What's happening? And if they are that person, I try to encourage routines because once you have a routine and a schedule in place, that gives your life a little bit more structure. So if you have to deviate from that structure, it's okay. You're not freaking out, you're not overwhelmed, you're not stressed. And the same goes for if you do have a routine, if you do have a schedule, less stress. You know what your day looks like, you know the repetition of what may happen, how it may go. And when it changes a slight bit, it's not like, oh my gosh, what to do. You
Mm-hmm.
kind of already know the gist of how your day is gonna go because you have a routine, right? And then moving forward, if you want to add to the routine, you want to subtract from the routine, you may even get into journaling. You may even get into using a daily calendar. You just, it's only up from there.
Mm. And I think that's true. Planning is what I'm hearing, journaling. So when we're journaling, I'm hearing self-reflection. I know that you didn't say
Yeah.
self-reflection, but that's what I'm hearing. Um, so tell me, how important is self-reflection as part of that initial step in creating your dreams and your goals?
Self-reflection kind of piggybacks off of what we're doing in the very beginning, right? You're looking back to see what worked, what did not work. And even if you're good, have a good memory to pinpoint even a time frame of, oh, I didn't know I had a bad sleeping habit around in the summertime. Oh, I didn't know I drank too much on the weekend. Like you will start identifying a pattern or identifying a repetition of something that you do like or something that you don't like.
Hmm.
And that self-reflection will help you grow. Because once you know the problem, you're identifying the problem or identify something that you just want to enhance, then it allows you to grow. It allows you to become more mature because you can't fix something if you don't know it needs to be fixed.
Mm. And that's true. So I hear personal barriers. Like, what are those personal things? And this is why self-reflection is important because what are those
Mhm.
personal barriers that are keeping you from getting to that next level or that
Yes.
next step? Because you have to address it. And that's definitely something that's not working for you.
Hmm.
But you have a habit that has formed on that barrier. So when we are looking to replace it, we're looking at creating something new. And so that's where the
Right.
planning comes in and understanding your vision and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to dive into a little bit more as far as barriers and stuff. Societal barriers, like society creates challenges, particularly for women. So, how do you help women, or what do you speak on when you're coaching women as far as those common societal barriers that we may face if we're like stepping into leadership or we're stepping, we're trying to get somewhere, but it's just not a social norm. So, how do you help them overcome those things or set up goals so that they can overcome them?
For those, I would say self-love is a big part of that because individuals, we are the first ones to beat ourselves up. Oh,
Mm,
I don't like the way I look. Oh, I don't like this, or I think that's better. And then with society paints this picture in this ideal world that sometimes realistically you're not there yet.
mhm,
And we put so much pressure on ourselves to get there in a fast pace. And if you put those barriers and that self-love in place, it you can get there, but take your time at your pace, at your own pace. And you're loving yourself as you get there. You're not really beating yourself up, talking down on yourself. And it also builds that confidence at the same
mhm,
time when you're loving yourself and you give yourself that grace.
mm. I hear that. And yes, because confidence is a big strength that you start creating and building as far as a skill as you start
Mhm.
progressing towards your goals, because you're definitely stepping into something that's new or unknown. You're not quite sure. So you need that as well. And I love that you're talking about self-love because we have to be compassionate to ourselves and we have to be accepting of who we are and just give ourselves grace because we're not going to get it right
Yeah.
all the time. We're going to mess
Yeah.
up, and that's okay. Messing up, but learning from it, learning from those situations for sure. So how do you help or how do you teach or coach women to advocate for themselves? So let's say they're stepping in a predominantly male um field of work and they are trying to like step into leadership, but there's a lot they're going to have to lead men. Like how do you teach them to advocate for themselves?
It's that confidence. It's really the confidence of because if you are into a role that's challenging and
Mhm,
everyone wants this role, there's going to be individuals to question your judgment. And you have to
mhm,
be able to be confident and stand on what you said is going to happen, what's in place, but also be mindful that you don't know everything. You can hear them out And it's your call on whether you're going to stick to what you said and it actually makes sense and it's going to work, or hear them out and say, they're right. But either way, you need confidence in yourself to say, hey, I'm wrong, you're right. Because it's not an easy thing. And then you also need confidence to say, no, my ideal is right. This is what we're doing. And I need you to obey or respect my authority. So either way, that confidence can help you stand your ground. And that confidence can also help you identify, I'm wrong and you're right.
That's true. That's true. Uh, and then also too, like I feel like communication too, because if we're talking women stepping into a predominantly uh, male driven
Mhm.
field of work, communication becomes a big factor. So you're building
Oh, yeah.
confidence and you're talking confident you so being able to communicate confidently, I
Mhm.
think as women, we have to have the ability to understand. I can ask a man like, and I did a training a couple of months ago, but
Mhm.
I heard this guy say, I don't mind when they tell me what to do, but if they're like, can you repeat to me what I just said? That makes me feel like I'm a child and I'm not a child. So I'm like, okay, so how do you create that communication for yourself? Because I mean, you've got to learn as a leader, as a woman, and leading in their life, how to communicate and adapt. How do you help coach those skills?
And it kind of goes with that confidence thing because along with confidence, you'll learn respect because
Mm,
you want respect when you're confident in
hmm
yourself, and then you respect yourself when you're confident because self-love and all that ties into it, right? So,
hmm
and I say that to say as well to also identify that feminine energy and masculine energy so that you don't become too masculine, even though you're in this role. Because
hmm
sometimes women can be very assertive, which is good, but you don't want the masculine to override that feminine when in that role, because that's when you begin to speak very aggressive and they're
hmm
men. So
hmm
their ego may become a bit bruised and now it's conflict.
hmm
And now it's conflict. It's okay, because sometimes when women are in those type of roles, they feel like they have something to prove. But if you're
hmm
already confident in what you're doing, you know for sure this is going to work. You can talk in that soft tone. You can be yourself and still get your point across. But when you're not confident and you're not moving in this grace or have this self-love, now you feel like you have something to prove. And that's when that masculine energy becomes to override the feminine energy of, and it becomes maybe sometimes in situations it become a bit biased because you feel like you have something to prove. So maybe you're being more harder on the men than the women in
hmm
this workplace or wherever you may be.
Yeah.
So everything kind of ties together in a sense. And that's why I always try to start from step one, two, and three. And by the end of our our meeting, all of our sessions, it all comes together for that individual to understand what they need to do in order to grow and be a better person. Because you're working on each step at a time. If you try to do all the steps at once, it's going to get a little confusing. You're going to be trying to juggle too many things at once, like learning wise, because you got to
hmm
remember you're changing your mindset, you're changing how you're displaying it. It's a lot of changes that's happening. And
hmm
everyone can't change 10 things at one time, easy.
hmm
Usually it takes time and steps because you're reprogramming yourself.
hmm Yeah, yeah. Uh, and I like the idea of reprogramming because you're having to unlearn things. We talked about habits earlier. You're having to unlearn things that weren't working for you to create new things that will get you to where you're trying to go. So
Mhm.
definitely hear that. And I like the idea of masculine and feminine energy because it is very true. I know
Mhm.
that in my own journey as a leader, I had to learn to balance those out because I would come very masculine energy and be told you're so aggressive when you talk and things like that. And it took me some time to realize what they were talking about. And I guess that's why I hone in on the communication because that was definitely a learning curve for me. I had to learn and adapt um, on how to speak with, women of diversity and men and all of those things, especially when you're teaching and you're coaching. Um, and then just kind of going along the communication. What about self-belief? I know we talked a lot about confidence, but what is self-belief? How does that play in taking control of your destiny?
Say you are a business owner, right?
Mhm.
And this is your first time on the business as an entrepreneur. You left your 9 to 5, and everyone surrounding you are saying you're making a big mistake. Your
Mhm.
idea is not going to work. It's not it. I think believing in yourself is the strongest thing and the best thing to do. So when everyone is doubting your beliefs and you know you've done the research, you know it's going to work, you can continue to move forward regardless.
Mhm.
Just think about before we had the internet, before we had cell phones, we were using, the telephone line. Whoever invented that, I'm pretty sure someone said, that's crazy. That's not going to work
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
we've never seen that happen before. But they had to believe in their thoughts. They had to believe in themselves and keep going, or we wouldn't be able to be here today talking the way we are now. We would not have internet.
Yeah.
Um, anyone who before Facebook, we had MySpace. You had all these other things. If no one believed in themselves to create those apps, we wouldn't be able to have what we have now in this generation.
Mhm.
So that's what I always paint that picture for individuals who struggle with believing in themselves. Remember, everyone had to start somewhere. Everyone had to believe in themselves. I'm pretty sure they had millions of people doubting them along the way or saying it's not gonna work. Like I love you, or mom and dad, like I love you, but that's crazy. That's not gonna work. And that's because a lot of people fear what they don't know.
Mm.
So you have to believe in yourself.
Mhm. And that's a barrier too. I mean, the fear of the unknown. I
Yeah.
very much understand that too. And so, yeah, you have to have belief in order to step into a new area that you're developing out of your comfort zones into something
Yeah.
else that you aren't really sure about until you get in there and start figuring it out. Um, so what are some of the psychological or emotional benefits of having a strong self-belief?
A strong self-belief, it'll allow you to open different doors.
Mm,
Doors that you may not have ever thought you would walk into. It allows you to meet different people because now your mind is open. Now you're open to new ideas. You're not as closed-minded or sheltered as you were before because you may now that you have believed in yourself, you went another step, an extra mile. And that guess what? You're talking to strangers now. Now
mm,
you're doing research because you want to learn more about it. No one else around you is talking about it. So guess what? You have to go do the research. It forces you to get out there and learn more and to ask questions, look at YouTube, read novels, read books, and it helps strengthen your mind, like
mm,
mentally, and depending on what the belief is, and maybe even physically, maybe you have to go out and do something, who
mhm.
knows, but it's growth in general.
Mm. It's self-growth and development. It definitely builds your confidence because then you, like you said, you're going out, you're researching on a topic, so you become the expert in
Mm-hmm.
that particular thing and you're well versed. So you can speak on it, you can network about it. So yeah, and those are the opportunities that it's creating for you for sure. Awesome. So, Coach, can you share maybe your story of adversity where you were at a place and you knew this isn't where you wanted your life to end up? And how did you get that changed around for yourself?
I am the definition of it. Okay. So I was born and raised in a very, very small town called Clewiston, where our biggest store is Walmart. And we may have about 7 or 10 red lights. It's
Mhm.
that small. No movie theaters, no
Wow.
mall. So the resources are very slim to none. So with that being said, how are you going to grow if in that community all you know is small-minded things? And not because individuals are not smart, but you don't have the resources. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have the access to different things as other people. You have to travel at least an hour or hour and a half out to the city to go to the mall to have that exposure. You're not exposed to things,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, so with that being said, I want more. I want exposure. I want to go to the mall. I want to go to the movies. I want to do things. So you have to get out and travel to do those things. And for myself, I went to college. Fortunately, I went to college in Orlando, Florida, where
Mm-hmm.
I was able to venture out. It was a culture shock in the beginning because, hey, I'm not used to this. I don't know anything about this. But I got out there, I learned, grew from there, went and got my
Mm-hmm.
master's in social work. Now I'm in California, LA. So that exposure helped me get to where I am today. And with that being said, I also opened my own business, which is Better Youth Solutions Life Coaching. I also have a youth mentoring program because I want to give back to my community. And then I said, hey, I want to give back to kids in general. So being from what I've experienced or the lack of things I experienced as a child due to the
Mm-hmm.
lack of resources, it pushed me to where I am today.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And so this just leads right into my next question. You're talking about resources. So how important or how essential is it to have a support system and those resources for you to continue on in trying to get your destiny under your control?
For me, fortunately, I do have a very supportive family, but remember, they only know what they know, right? So I
Mhm.
also went out and got my resources. When I'm in school, guidance counselor, I need help. I'm thinking about this. Or I'm on the internet, I'm researching. I went out and found my own resources. And I go to that guidance counselor or whomever so
Mhm.
often. Guess what? Now you are my support system. And that's why I say push yourself, believe in yourself. Because if I didn't believe in myself that hey, I want to go to college or hey, I want to do this as a career, I would have been stuck in my hometown and I may not have the knowledge that I have now. But I
Mhm.
had to believe in myself, push myself, and then because some people are like, I don't have support, I don't know anything. Okay, go out and get the support. And
Mhm.
then actually, I went out and got the research. And my research, the guidance counselor, became my support system. Because guess what? That guidance counselor listened to me and they know more than me to point me in the right direction.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think, there's some people that come from no support system, no matter how small,
Mhm.
and some that just have that already in place. So for the woman that's out there that's like, oh, well, that's all great for you
Mhm.
because you had that. But
Mhm.
what about someone that doesn't have it? How can they tap into it?
So I know y'all gonna beat me up, but I'm just gonna use this as an example. DCF, right? Everyone looks at them like, oh, they take the kids away, but that is a great resource. That is the government. If anyone know resources, they know the resources. They have the guides, they have the tools, and they're not only there to take away the kids, but they are there to help. They are there. Anyone who's like, I don't have resources, I don't know how to eat, or I don't know what I'm doing with my lights, and I want my kids to be great. I want to be better. DCF is there to help. They can help you with light bills. They can help you with getting food stamps or Cal Fresh. They can help you with parenting classes. They are there as a resource, as a
Mhm.
guide. It's not all negative. It's not all bad. And
Mhm.
then if you say, I don't want to go to DCF, cool, that's okay. Because there's other resources you can dial like 911, 211. 211 or 411 is a whole hub of resources. And guess what? If you keep calling those resources, you keep talking to those people, they start to learn your name, they start to learn your situation, and they sooner or later become your support system.
Mhm.
Or you can reach out to people like myself or her, life coaches, because then it's a resource, somewhat an outlet. And the reason why you want to reach out to life coaches is because it's a professional setting. It's a
Mhm.
confidential. confidentiality. You can talk to your brother, your cousin, your sister, your family, but then in the back of your mind, that thought is like, are they gonna tell my business? Are they gonna tell the other family
Mm,
members, my friends? But when you're talking to someone in a professional setting and it's confidential, you don't have to worry about that. And not only that, we don't know your friends and family. We're not going back to tell anyone, right?
right.
Um, so, and then when meeting with those coaches or therapists or whomever, so often it becomes your support system.
Mm. It's true. It's true. And like most families when it gets crazy and they use those as the grenades, the personal grenades to throw at you during arguments and stuff like that. Then you just feel betrayed because you're like, I would totally did
Yes.
that in confidence and in trust in you, and you just totally used it
Mhm.
against me. So that doesn't work. But yeah, I think coaches are a great resource, mentoring, community-based care, and
Yes.
anything that you can get your hands on that's going to just help elevate you and point you in the right direction. And I love that you mentioned building relationships with your community resources because I know when I was working in that element of family coaching for this community center that I worked for, I was always like connecting this person to another person and,
Mhm.
different resources and, just that frequency of building those relationships, they do benefit you for sure. And you get to advocate for your clients and say, hey, I
Yes.
think this would be a great opportunity for you. Those opportunities start presenting themselves. So, Coach Coleman, what can we expect from you in the future? What do you got going on for yourself in the up and coming months or years? What do you got working for you?
Y'all ready? No, but I have a team summit happening in October 19th in California. And then I also have a single parents gala. It's just a night of saying, hey, I know you're a parent or a grandparent or a foster parent, whatever, a parent. I know you're a parent and it's not that easy. We want to appreciate you
Mm,
tonight.
mhm.
Anyone can attend, and that will be in Florida, Orlando, Florida, November 2nd. And then I also have a fibroids awareness gala happening 2025. Anyone can attend, but we are honoring anyone who does have fibroids, who experienced it, or maybe a family member is going through it. And it's just saying, we know that's not easy as well. We know what you're going through, and want to just honor you in that moment.
Mm,
And then I also have a meet and greet for my youth mentoring, which is virtual. So anyone can come find out what is her movement about, how can I sign my child up, how can I volunteer, or can I donate? Whatever your questions are, we're meeting virtual October 5th, and it's just an open space. So I'm doing a lot. It's a lot. Just join our website to keep in touch, subscribe to know what's going on. And with my life coaching business, I have a lot of free events. Like right now, this moment, I have someone hosting our something called Fearless Healing,
oh, wow.
completely free, and it's a support group for women. So you can come vent. We talk about life. Life gets real. Life is lifing sometimes,
Mhm,
and it's just
mhm.
an outlet for women. Safe place. Right now, the group is about 50 people. We have our own little group where we talk throughout the days, and then we meet once a month on a Tuesday, and it's free. I also have master classes that's only $10. Only $10. That's virtual. And it's like how to be your own boss. I help you start your business. We work on a business plan, whatever it is you want to do. So yeah, just join the website to stay in touch.
Well, awesome. Okay, definitely. And I will, for our listeners, have all of your information in our when we release this interview and stuff. So it'll be on all the socials for sure. Well, everyone, you heard it here, Coach Coleman. I'm Angelina Mojica, your life coach, sending you much love, much peace, many blessings.